The eviction moratorium has been extended once again for 60 more days. Is this good or is this bad? My name is Troy Funk. I'm a licensed real estate broker in the state of Florida. I've been in the real estate business going on 35 years. And in that time, I've specialized in bank-owned foreclosures and helping sellers avoid foreclosure and primarily helping homeowners face financial challenges with their real estate and how to get through that process in the easiest possible way. So this whole eviction moratorium has probably created one of the biggest housing crises that I've seen in my career coming up. I mean, we don't see the full impact of what could happen, and it's very problematic for everybody. So let's just dive into that right now and just talk about the extension happening. And is this good or is this bad? Well, obviously, if you're a landlord, you're upset right now. I mean, if you have a tenant that has been making their payments for the past year, that's problematic for you, right? I mean, if you have a mortgage on your rental property and obviously you have to pay property taxes on that property. And if you don't, that property will be taken away from you. So you're under full obligation to make your payments, but yet you're not receiving income from somebody using your property. A lot of people have expressed that your property rights were taken away from you. And I know a lot of landlords, after this is all over with, are saying, I'm done. I don't want to be a landlord. Get me out of this mess. Well, we're not out of the mess yet. So if you're a landlord, yes, you have a right to be upset, very much so. And if you're a tenant, you certainly have a right to be very upset and concerned too, because what's the start of this whole eviction moratorium? It was COVID. And now we're seeing the Delta variant spike up, and COVID, the eviction moratorium was put in place as a public safety measure by the CDC. Now, obviously with COVID spiking again, that's a concern. So where are we right now? Well, here's the interesting thing that just kind of people didn't think of initially is that Congress allocated about $46 billion for aid to help tenants pay their rent and make landlords whole. Well, where's this money? I mean, $46 billion. Of that, it's been reported that about $3 billion has been properly allocated, but the rest hasn't been properly allocated to landlords, right at a point where they're about to evict their tenant. So obviously, that's a Band-Aid that needs to be addressed. And we've been given 2 months to try to figure this out. Well, there's a couple of things that need to take place. Number one, if you're a tenant and you haven't been making your you haven't been making your rent payment, then now's the time to start doing everything possible to do that. In many cases, if you haven't been making your payment, you have a landlord upset with you, right? So try to fix that situation first. And how to do that is make every possible measure to try to get back on track with your landlord. Why? Because you do not want to be evicted for many reasons. So let's talk about how to get back on track with your landlord. Number one, do everything possible to try to make payments in this process and ask for help from the resource of all this money that's available. Yes, it's been problematic from the standpoint that what we're being told is the red tape to get this money is very difficult, but efforts need to be made to try to do that from the tenant's perspective to pay their landlord as they try to make payments on their rental. Now, basically do the best you can. There are good tenants and there are bad tenants. There are good tenants that are in a financial situation that are doing their best. They can't pay their rents. There are bad tenants that, you know what, they're just taking advantage of the situation. Those are stereotyped. Those bad tenants are being stereotyped with all the good tenants that really need help. We've seen rents spike as much as 30% depending on where you're at. So if you're a tenant and you get evicted, you're going to go back in a marketplace where rents are higher, and also it's going to be hard to even find rental properties. The result of that is that we're probably going to see homelessness also spike. So this 2-month extension is a time of trying to make amends back with your landlord. Now, if you're a landlord, work with your tenant. Now, I know depending on where you're at, if a tenant pays you partial rent, you can't evict them. So prior to the last week, if a tenant tried to make partial rent, some landlords would not accept it because accepting partial rent means I can't evict my tenant. Well, that's not going to be the case for the next 2 months. So if you have a tenant making good efforts to try to work with you and pay partial rent, I would accept it. I mean, you can't evict them. You cannot evict them right now anyway. So why not accept what you can? And yes, it's going to be the tenant's obligation to try to pay you the rest of the rent or secure those funds. Because again, there's $46 billion out there, of which only $3 billion has been spent. That money will help resolve this situation. And we don't want an eviction crisis among us, because with that, we are going to see homelessness increase and we're going to see crime increase. And that affects all of us. We want to come back together as a country again. And it's very challenging as we go through this experience and try to get back on track. So is this extension a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's going to help Band-Aid and get landlords whole if the tenants make the right efforts. If the tenants don't make the right efforts, they don't initiate the process, and they don't make amends with their landlord, the effect on that could be detrimental to them in a homeless situation where crime goes up and our country just becomes weaker as a result. So not something we want. Now, landlords, again, be patient, help work with tenants. That would be my advice. Now, I want to just be real transparent where I'm at with this right now. Now, I started my YouTube channel just a couple months ago, and I've done a couple videos, vlogs on this moratorium coming up. And you can see that I've had very good numbers on those vlogs. But what was most interesting to me was the comments. I think the comments are the most helpful of all, because when you comment on a vlog like this vlog, it really shares where the American sentiment is from all perspectives. I mean, I have had good and positive, but people are coming from different places talking about their feelings on this crisis that we're in and how we're going to get through this situation. So with that, I encourage you, please comment below. That helps everybody to kind of get a perspective and air their thoughts, and so we all kind of understand where we're coming from different perspectives. I also ask that you like my channel if you like my channel, and also subscribe. I'm here to be a resource to you. I appreciate all your comments, your feedback. Again, we're all in this together, and let's hope for the best as we move forward with this eviction moratorium being extended, and hopefully in that time period, it will help mitigate the problem so we don't have a crisis. With that, I'm signing out. I appreciate your feedback, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.